This year, 2019, marks a very important anniversary for Antifa. It'll be 100 years since Rosa Luxemburg was killed. In looking at the sorts of people of Antifa groups, because you have to remember that Antifa is not a single organisation, it is a conglomerate. Anyway, I went to change.org, where you sign internet petitions and the like, and I saw a petition asking I assume it's to do with the Australian government, asking for Maryam Namazie to be banned from coming into Australia. And I took notice of this because, number one, I'm Australian, and number two, I don't know if she's got plans to come here or not. But I also took notice because I have heard of Maryam Namazie previously. So, she's supposed to be an ex-Muslim. From what I can make out, she lives in London and basically goes on a 365-day tour around the world just slagging off at Islam. And when I looked at some of the things she believes in or purports to believe in, now I see a lot of Rosa Luxemburg. Let's see. So let's look at Maryam Namazie. Was she about 52 years old? She was an ex-Muslim. She comes from Iran. She describes herself as an atheist, and she is a Marxist. She's with the Worker Communist Party of Iran. Now, the Worker Communist Party of Iran has branched out. You've got the Worker Communist Party of Iraq, the Worker Communist Party of Kurdistan, and the Worker Communist Party of Iran is called marxist, which, as I understand, some guy called Hekmat or Hekma was the one who founded this. Now, the Worker Communist Party of Iran, it is present in Australia. It's in a, what you would call an upper class area, in the northern suburbs of Sydney, the upper North Shore. Not cheap by any means. And they believe in a marxism which is absolutely atheist and globalist. And apparently Maryam Namazie wants open borders. Now, this is a contradiction. She's complaining on one hand that there's too much Islam, or any sort of Islam, coming into the West, but yet at the same time she wants open borders. So you've got to ask, what is her motivation, and is she just a part of something bigger? When I look from, it's only what I have come across, she seems to be a $2 copy of Rosa Luxemburg. So Maryam Namazie reportedly hates white people, even though she's whiter than me and probably whiter than a lot of people. She's got a very porcelain type skin texture or skin colour. She looks like a frozen plucked chicken. And as I understand it, she is a lesbian. So if that's true, and from what I can make out it is, you've got an atheist Marxist lesbian who hates the very people who shelter her. Now she supposedly lives in London, but apparently has an apartment in Paris. So you can't sustain this lifestyle just by screaming and slagging off at God and then passing a hat around in a Communist Party organisation. It's just not possible. And this going around screaming at God, that's her full-time job. But the thing that got me to really check out Maryam Namazie, or whatever the hell she wants to call herself, is a petition on change.org. Now, I think internet petitions don't really mean anything. And as I understand about change.org, it is very leftist, and I tell you one of the things I saw. I went to the web page on change.org, and it had banned Maryam Namazie, from coming to Australia. And when I looked at it, it had about 12 or 13 signatures on it, which are not really signatures, they're just email addresses and someone's name put to them. And I went there a couple of hours ago, and there weren't 12 or 13 signatures, there were 7, so change.org is obviously slicing signatures off. But yet, if it's some left-wing group, they have no problem with, anyone can just grab someone's email address and their name and just put it on. So anyway, I'll put the web address or URL, so if you want to check it out yourself. And I noticed there were comments relating to this so-called petition, and the people had Middle Eastern names, and one of the complaints was that Namazie, you got a whole heap of Iranians, which we do have in Australia, these so-called boat people. And what the Worker Communist Party of Iran wants is all these people to come into Australia, they have kids, get on the welfare. Some of them have, 6, 7 kids. But the Worker Communist Party goes after the kids. And I think this is quite a reasonable assumption to make. This is a plan. And one of the mistakes is that a lot of people do not realise that there is a, what you call it, an expat Iranian population in Sydney. Sure, if you look at places like Auburn, Bankstown, Guildford, Liverpool, to an extent, yeah, sure, and they just say, look at all the people say, look at all these Muslims, they're bludgeoning off welfare, they're stealing all the welfare money. But people don't bother to look that in the elite upper North Shore areas, you do have Iranians. Usually these people are Baha'i or they're Iranian Christians, but people don't want to look at that. And the Worker Communist Party seems to be played on this. They can hide themselves within these groups. And I think it's a small minority. 20 years ago, which is when the Worker Communist Party of Iran supposedly came into being, I used to actually live on the Upper North Shore, and I used to see their propaganda posters. They just put them up. So, you don't put up posters in a place where you have no hope of recruiting people. So, I didn't really get it at the time. I never heard of this group, but now I have, and now have you. But this Worker Communist Party of Iran and its various franchises, which is what they are, they hold the same beliefs as Antifa, open borders, kill all white people. Even though, as I said, a lot of these people are whiter than me, we're dealing with a conglomeration of rejects, scum. I've heard stories from Iran where you have women and children living on the street because their husband at the time decided to get on a people smuggling boat. And you should remember when Julia Gillard took over Australia, we're talking 10 years ago, there was approximately 50,000 Iranians who came via boat. They'd get in a boat, people smuggling boat, and they just turned up, tried putting them on the route, and you've got Marxists, Anglo-Saxon Celtic Marxists, who are facilitating this. Of course, George Soros is in the mix somewhere, but people unfortunately just point the finger and say, all Muslims are like this. When in fact, when you look at welfare, Centrelink, the fact is Muslims do not run Centrelink, yet you have payments going to any so-called refugee, and especially in regards to having children. So you've got these people who have abandoned their families and their children, their wives, come to Australia. I know at one time there was a subsidy for employing refugees. Apparently it was about 50%. That's a subsidy by the government. And to see a woman who's about 21 years old with 2 toddlers, a baby in a pram and pregnant, it's not that big a deal anymore. But it can only be done through Marxists operating within the government. The Australian government is completely compromised. Not by Muslims, but by Marxists. And this, we've got one worlders running Australia. This is the basic truth. So, as to this petition, do I think it's going to get anywhere? No, I think eventually maybe after a couple of weeks, change.org will scrub that petition. You know, you had, now, I don't know anything about this guy. He's called Gavin McInnes, something to do with the Proud Boys in the United States. He wanted to come to Australia, and yet a petition organised by a Sudanese refugee apparently was enough to have him banned from entering. Now, if it's okay for a petition to ban someone from entering Australia, then in theory this petition to ban Maryam Namazie should be allowed to pass. I don't know. I don't know what the petition was supposed to achieve, and change.org, which I have been told actually makes money by harvesting up all the email addresses and selling them, you know, for spam lists and stuff like that. You know, but I'll leave it up to you to decide what you want to do. Maryam Namazie, a spoiled, privileged, atheist Marxist, which is really one and the same. A suspected lesbian, I believe she is. You know, you look at the way she dresses, she wears those business blouses, you know, with the stiff collar and stuff like that. I mean, she shouldn't be allowed here or in Australia. She wants the children of Muslims. Because, look, if you're in Iran and you sign up to this Worker Communist Party of Iran, you know, it is a subversive organisation. And all they really have to, you know, indoctrinate people with is just theory, just words. Then they come to Australia, you go down to Sydney, you go to Glebe, go to Broadway, you will see transsexual children. I've seen it myself. One was about 14 and the other was about 17. And you would think, what the hell have I signed up to? And yeah, it's worth, if you really want to, you can check it up. But I'll put up the web page URL, and you can decide for yourself what to do, or I don't know, maybe you want to spread it or recruit people or not give a shit. You know, it's nothing to do with me anyway. It's your choice, but I thought that you should know. And anyway, just to tell you that I have not finished my Antifa 2019 series. I've only done one clip so far, but I will finish it off because I believe 2019 is a self-imposed deadline for the likes of Antifa. They are Luxemburgers. You know, Rosa Luxemburg, she was all for pedophilia, bestiality, transvestitism, or whatever the hell it is, open borders. This is what she was in favour of. She believed in a nihilist type vision of the world, or some weird crap. Anyway, I'll end it here now.